Hey everyone, welcome to the first nutrition talk of 2024. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Desiree. I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition coach with Delta Life Fitness. And the nutrition talks are monthly content about specific topics in nutrition and wellness. We put them out every second Tuesday of the month. Currently, they are being recorded because of just the logistics of weather and things like that. And I wanted more of you to be able to see them at kind of your leisure and not feel, like the only way to get this content is by being able to attend a specific date and time. So, please tune in to future nutrition talks and let me know if there are any specific topics that you would like me to cover. This month, we are talking about New Year's resolutions because it is New Year's resolution time. It is the beginning of the year. Everyone is hopefully setting some new goals for themselves. So I wanted to discuss why it's so common that people fail their New Year's resolutions and how we can not be part of that camp, right? We want to be part of this successful camp. So, did you know that the average duration that people adhere to their New Year's resolutions is less than 4 months? Only 16% manage to sustain their resolutions beyond the 6 month period, and a mere 8% successfully make it through the first month. Okay, those are terrible statistics, not surprising at all, but they are not so great. So let's talk about why so many people fail their goals. If I were to kind of highlight the biggest reasons why people fail is because the goal itself is a poor one. And I don't mean it's, not a good goal for someone to try to meet. It's that their goal itself maybe is unrealistic for someone at a specific time. It may be too big or lack specificity. So it is like kind of too vague or too I guess kind of like too big, but it's just maybe like considering too many factors. And oftentimes people don't make a plan to even pair with this goal. Okay. So the example that I like to use is that is like non-wellness related, but that most people can relate to is, let's say you had like a financial goal. You can't just say, I want to make money, like, or make more money or save more money next year, right? You have to have like a dollar amount, right? You maybe want to save $10,000 and you want to save that, I don't know, in a year or in 5 years, whatever your case is, right? And you also know that you can't just say it. You can't just say, I want to save $10,000 this year. You have to come up with a financial plan that is feasible with the amount of money you make in your expenses in order to be able to hit that. So we need to do the same thing with our wellness goals and our fitness goals, right? We need to create a specific goal and have a plan in place. And not only that, but another huge reason why people fail is because they don't have the either resources in place that they need in either, physical things or non-physical things, but also just like support systems or accountability. And these are all crucial, right? So let's now figure out how we can make a better goal and what we need to do to keep increasing the probability of success of achieving that goal. The first thing that I want you to consider is, instead of thinking of an outcome-based goal, think of a habit-based goal. So for example, losing weight to me is an outcome-based goal. That doesn't really talk about any specific action that you need to do. Losing weight is going to be the outcome, right? So when you do specific things throughout the year, if your goal is to lose weight, you may not be saying it to yourself, but in order to lose weight, you might have to make some changes in your diet. You might have to exercise more. So instead of saying that your goal is to lose weight, redefine that goal into specific habits that you need to start doing that would result in weight loss. So, for example, if you want to lose weight and you currently, eat takeout most meals out of the week and there's no real intention behind what you eat, you're always kind of on the go, you might make a positive habit based goal to cook more at home, right? And then later when we talk about making it smart, we might say we're going to cook at home X amount of days and blah, blah, blah. But my point is, when we focus on habits, this is where we see sustainability. This is where we see consistency. So think about when, well, I guess you won't not necessarily be able to remember this, but think about the habit of brushing your teeth, right? It is currently probably part of your morning routine. It's part of your bedtime routine. And it's just something that you do. There's not really a lot of effort you need to put into it. It's just something that you do. Now think about trying to teach your like toddler or like a kid to now start to develop that routine. They may need to have a little bit more guidance and resources, and they may need a little bit more practice, but eventually they will get to where we are, and brushing your teeth is just inherent action. This is what we want. We want to focus on habits because habits are something that we just do out of second nature. They become part of our lifestyle, and that is where we're seeing behavioral change. Okay. Chances are that if you have a goal or someone has a goal to lose a significant amount of weight or to, start working out, they have either a good deficit of positive habits, or they have a lot of negative habits that are contributing to the reason why they have that goal in the first place, or contributing to the reason why they can't hit that goal in the first place. So again, consider a habit-based goal rather than an outcome-based goal. Once you do that, let's make sure that the goals that we set are smart. A couple weeks ago, we shared a goal setting workbook with you, and I've been posting some additional videos about that as well. But it is a really, really good resource. And in that, between the videos and the workbook, I talked about SMART goals. You've probably heard about SMART goals before. It's not just a wellness thing, it's a goal setting thing in general. But it is a really great way to make sure that the goals that we are creating are actually something that we can work towards throughout the year or month, however long the goal takes you to get there. So S is for specific. So when I was mentioning before, we don't want our goals to lack specificity. M is for measurable. We need a way to make sure that we have actually accomplished that goal. Achievable means it's actually something that is doable within your reach with a little bit more effort, but within your reach. Relevant means that it is relevant to either your overall values or what your big picture goal is. So for example, if your big picture goal is to eat more nutritiously, a short-term goal could be to incorporate more vegetables, and that makes it relevant to the bigger picture of eating more nutritiously, right? So that's where relevance comes in. And T stands for time bounds. We want to make sure that it is time sensitive, timely, or time bound. Those are all different ways that I've seen the T, but it's essentially to make sure that you have some kind of time frame that you're working at, a end date in mind. Once we have made sure that your goals are clearly defined by using the SMART technique, we want to make sure that we are developing an action plan. I talked about this as well. The action plan is kind of taking an analysis of what needs to be done in order for you to actually start working towards that goal. I use the example in the video that if your goal is to drink more water, some of your action plans might be to, buy a water bottle that you can take everywhere with you. It might be to go to the grocery store to get water flavorings. If you don't like the taste of water, it might be to set alarms to make sure that you're drinking X amount of water by certain portions of the day. Those are all action steps. And those bigger action steps can then be broken down into smaller. So, for example, if you want to start grocery shopping more, you may want to make sure that a smaller action step is that you're making a grocery list, right? So make sure that you're going in with a plan. Remember the financial example that I mentioned before. Now, self-monitoring is something that I think is truly, truly important. There are many, many ways that you can self-monitor, but it is a really, really great way for you to be able to actually track what is happening throughout the year and how you are, I guess it depends on how you're tracking, but you can track in a way, there's several different methods, but you can track in a way that maybe you are trying to quantify your weights. Maybe you are tracking using a body composition scan and recording that. Maybe you are self-monitoring by writing in a journal nightly or using an app on the computer or your phone to track calories. You might be tracking how many days in a row you're reaching your habit, right? But you want to make sure that you're self-monitoring. Self-monitoring and tracking, these are really, really great ways for you to see trends, both positive and negative, in what your actions are doing and how that is comparing to what your goal is, as well as maybe seeing deficits in kind of like maybe your day or your habits. So, for example, if you track your weight daily and you start to notice that every weekend your weight is kind of trending higher, you may then look deeper into, okay, what's different about my weekend during my week? Your routine's a little bit different. You may eat later than normal, but you might not have picked up on that if you weren't actually looking at the information or data. So I highly, highly recommend tracking whatever, self-monitoring, what you're actually doing throughout the year in whatever way that you would like to do that. Speaking of throughout the year, when we are planning for hitting our goal over 2024, and we're talking about the fact that we want to be successful throughout the entire year, we should be looking at the entire year. Think 365, okay? You can break down the entire year into smaller segments, like maybe quarterly, seasonally is, I guess, the same thing as quarterly, as well as maybe monthly. And you can use those smaller portions of the year to attach short-term goals or to attach checkpoints, milestones. But ideally, you want to be kind of setting those things in place throughout the year and looking at potential obstacles that may come. So, for example, when we were talking about the financial goal, if you just say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to put $1,000 away for the next 10 months, right? Then you're probably going to hit the 10,000. If you lose your job halfway, well, I shouldn't say that you lose your job, but let's say that you know that there are 2 or 3 months out of the year that your paycheck is a lot lighter for whatever reason, right? $1,000 might not be as feasible in those months as the other months. If you have a weight loss goal and to follow a specific diet and you have a, just slew of events over a certain portion of the year, you want to be aware of that. We're not going to let that slow us down, but you want to be aware of that. So when we're looking at these obstacles and looking at the year in a big picture, you can now plan accordingly, set up some backup plans, and you can also know that a potential point that is more difficult is going to come. So you can try to start working towards some strategies to be more proactive about that. Okay. So again, we want to look at the big picture and not just take it month to month. Okay, we're going to divide the year into month to month, but we want to look at the big picture and see, okay, by the end of the year, what does my chances look like of still following whatever this goal is. Now, the next thing that I want you to focus on is just asking for help. So make sure that you have a good support system. And if you don't already have a good internal support system, so maybe the people that you live with, maybe your family, maybe your coworkers are not supportive, go out and seek that support elsewhere. There's always going to be like-minded individuals, and there's always some form of support group. Like there's Facebook groups, you have your community here at Delta. I don't know, you might find support at church, or you might, like I said, you might just find like-minded individuals that are, into the same thing, and you can use those people if your internal support group isn't enough. Also try to find someone who's going to hold you accountable, a good partner for that. You may want someone who will actually do something with you. So maybe someone who's, joins the gym with you, or people that you already are in the gym with that are good accountability partners for you. So make sure that you are asking for help where needed. One thing that I really, really love about Delta is there are lots of resources and effort to support you guys. So number one, make sure that you are tuning into the social media posts. So everyone at Delta does such a good job. There is, Nikki is doing fitness posts. There's motivational posts. I am doing some nutrition stuff, and I hope to be doing a lot more of that this year. So make sure that you're tuning in to all the added resources that we are providing just through social media posts. In addition, the nutrition talks, as I mentioned, are, a really great way to get a little bit more information about specific topics. So again, any topics you'd like for me to discuss, let me know. Anytime the gym runs any type of challenge, I recommend that you jump on the opportunity to do that. If you haven't already signed up for the Bet on Yourself challenge, I highly recommend that you do that. If you don't know what the Bet on Yourself challenge is, there is a $30 buy-in. It is not a weight loss plan. You are focusing on changes in your body composition, so body fat loss and muscle gained. And you have a little bit more nutrition access and a little bit more kind of like VIP treatment during the challenge than in general. So it's a really good way to have little snippets throughout the year where you're a little bit more focused and doing it with a team of people who are trying to do the same thing. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the nutrition challenges. The Bet on Yourself starts next week. Is that next week already? January 15th. I know that the final weigh-in day, you have to weigh in by January 13th. So if this is something that you're considering, the most you have to lose is $30. So I highly, highly recommend that you do that. Another free option that you have is the goal setting session. So make sure that you are signing up for those. Goal setting sessions are available to you every 3 months. At that 3-month mark, you are able to do another body scan. It is 20-ish minutes with either myself or with Nikki, and it is a really good way for you to check in to make sure that you are progressing towards your goals, get a little bit more expert advice from either myself or from Nikki in, like I said, a way that you don't really have to invest anything in. So take advantage of that. That is a free resource for you. Now, this is not free, but if you are super, super serious about hitting your goals in 2024, consider one-on-one coaching. Yes, it is an investment, but you are investing in yourself. And I know that that's corny, but it's true. But you have so much access to so many different resources with the one-on-one coaching. So you have the Healthy Steps Nutrition Framework, which is just banks and banks and banks of information that is provided to you. It You get access to the HSN app, which is where you're going to have access to all that information, but you are able to track your habits. You're able to track your nutrition, exercise, and hydration. There are daily educational videos, and you're able to direct message myself. So it's kind of like having a nutrition coach or dietitian in your pocket. If you have a question or need extra support, anytime throughout the time that you are enrolled in one-on-one coaching, you don't just meet us just for the monthly in-person individualized coaching session. You have access to me pretty much all the time. So, I always respond within 24 hours. It's essentially just like texting, or sending like a Facebook Messenger. So, I think that it's more value than you can even realize. And yes, it is a premium to your membership, but keep in mind that, you can do nutrition as long as you need it. You don't necessarily have to be doing nutrition for the entire year. Okay. Consider maybe, 3 months of good focus or 6 months of good focus, and how much information you can get out of that and how much that can help you towards progressing towards your overall big picture goal. So, in a nutshell, make sure that you are being very, very clear about your goals. Clearly define them, make sure that they're smart, make sure that you're creating an action plan, make sure that you are looking at the entire year as a whole, and that you're focusing on habits, and that you're seeking, support and advice and resources if you need them. You do all of those things, or even just one of those things, you will be more successful than if you have not. So anyway, thank you all for listening. I wish you all a ton of luck in reaching your goals in 2024. Schedule your goal setting session, sign up for one-on-one coaching if you want that extra bit of help, and I will see you next month. Thank you.